am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection. I am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection. I am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection. I am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection. I am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection. I am that I am. Affirmations, poems, affirmations, and moments of reflection.
Introduction. The purpose of this book is to affirm who you already are. By the time you finish reading it, you'll be astonished by how much you've already manifested. Each silent or spoken word awakens your soul's true purpose. Some affirmations are written as poems or as thoughts of reflection. Consider this to be your own personal journal of affirmations. Similarly, just as I have traveled into my own creative processes of alchemy, you too can customize your own affirmation. Print it. Keep it next to your bed, on your nightstand, or inside a keepsake treasure chest. As you affirm any word, any sentence, any paragraph, any page, or the entire book, remember one thing and one thing only. Feeling an affirmation is the secret to its manifestation. An opening note from the author. Also, me. Hello. One day, in search for the truth, I came across an 18th century book. While processing this newfound knowledge, a part of myself said, "Aha, I knew it." We are extensions of God pretending to be human. If you are reading this during or after the global pandemic, you are witnessing or have already witnessed the blooming of a new era where reflections born out of long periods of isolation inspired many of us to live a more fulfilling, authentic life. Learning to be your truest self in the midst of chaos means surrendering to the spiritual embodiment of having a practical human experience to alchemize everything into one blissful moment of isness. Thank you for purchasing this book. May it always remind you of who you are. Acknowledgements. The first person I want to thank and acknowledge is you. By taking the first step to affirm who you already are, you are paying it forward by inspiring others to do the same. I hope that the life-transforming knowledge shared in this book changes your life as much as it has changed and still continuing to change mine. I would like to thank and acknowledge a few well-known authors and guides: Prentice Mulford, Neville Goddard, Erin Worley, Eckhart Tolle, Baba Jolie, Royal Mystic, and last but not least, Ashley Campbell, also known as Aluna Ash. All of you have served as an inspiration to the creation of this book. Your admirable, humble, and tireless dedication to the world has left an indelible imprint in my heart. May all of your work continue to transform the lives of many, and may all of your deeds return back to you across all time, space, and dimensions, exponentially to infinity and beyond. I appreciate you. Love, Kwaye Digne. Vital disclaimer. There seems to be a lot of halabahalu around the word manifestation. And I do get it. Because in my opinion, making even the little things happen is kind of a big deal. From the moment we open our eyes, we're already manifesting. We think about getting out of bed, brushing our teeth, tweaking that project, what to wear, and how to go about our day. And voila, we make things happen. Of course, things do not always happen in the way we envision it, but we are indeed constantly manifesting in some way. So manifestation might as well just be another way of saying making things happen. Spiritual manifestation, however, is the essence or a combination of both earthly nature and the heart of heaven aligned within, making extraordinary things happen in everyday life without. But once an area of spiritual manifestation is achieved, staying grounded in the midst of higher levels of understanding is crucial. Simply because as creators, using the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and air, along with the 5th essence, spirit or God together, also means being quote-unquote tuned in to and tempering a wholesome creative alchemical flow state in the midst of everyday life to express our individuality and authenticity in the most unique yet practical way possible. This is quintessential freedom. So no matter how spiritually enlightened we become, the laundry still needs to get done. Even though the definition of human means God in man, it doesn't matter how fully awakened we are spiritually, we are still earthlings having a practical human experience. The purpose of speaking affirmations is to help you realize the power you behold within, something I am still learning, to sustain all good and palpable things without. Keep in mind that speaking daily affirmations does not nullify the use of common sense or practical judgment in any situation. Speaking affirmations also does not mean to feign positivity or suppress your negative emotions. There's a difference between being positive and being toxically positive. Not allowing yourself to feel or express an emotion denies you the opportunity to learn, grow, purify, or expand. So, remaining in an unhealthy situation is not conducive to your spiritual, emotional, or physical well-being. It is important to always listen to your inner guidance or intuition. Speaking affirmations also does not mean to just be and not do. In order to make things happen, you are meant to, yes, just be yourself, but also do what is aligned with who you truly are and remain faithful to what you've envisaged no matter what, to make your dreams and visions come true.
polarities, which can play out in anything we experience, or view as an opposition, or as something we do not like, are merely manifestations or consequences to previous impressions, such as past events, suggestions, or any type of conditioning or programming imposed upon us by external influences. Negative impressions or perceptions, if not transmuted or transformed, can turn into a disharmonious vibration that we consciously or unconsciously choose to accept, give into, entertain as, or believe to be a quote-unquote normal part of daily life. As these vibrations settle or make themselves quote-unquote at home within us, they might delay a manifestation to be embodied or expressed without. And depending on the state we are in when these things transpire, determines the degree of nuances we experience. If undetected, these nuances show up in unexpected ways within relationships or other aspects of life. The good thing is that these experiences do present us with an opportunity to grow or to transform, whether we are aware of it or not, to restore, balance, and harmonize our lives. This is why speaking affirmations on both good days and bad days is crucial, and one of the ways to transmute negative vibrations on a consistent basis. Simply because we are not always aware of everything going on around us until it manifests. And to be reasonable, being around people is inevitable, and the energies intermingle to coexist with one another. One way to understand or simplify a transformative process is to perceive it as an alchemical or quote-unquote magical breakthrough moment taking place internally during a meditative state or while you're speaking affirmations. This process brings us back into alignment with God's pure, unconditioned light from within. An example of what this might look like is, imagine an invisible protective helix or quote-unquote slinky forming itself around you during meditation. Suddenly, as you become more receptive to this breakthrough, the magical slinky neutralizes any resistances within or around you, and it seals the deal by springing you quote-unquote up into alignment with the true divine order of all things. Here is where you experience something beyond comprehension. As you're propelled onward and upward into higher dimensions of understanding, a victory felt within. And as you experience to feel this miracle happening internally within, you begin to see some miracles happen externally without. This visualization can also be tweaked using any one of the 4 elements of your choosing. For example, the helix can also be visualized as a sphere of fire, purifying any negative sensations, impressions, or distortions influencing your perception of people, situations, places, and things. The possibilities are endless as to what kind of element your imaginary helix is made of. I hope this illustration helps you navigate these processes with a little more reassurance or confidence, so you can be more receptive to a divine flow of intervention or transformation. Perhaps now you have an idea how daily affirmations might help you approach certain dynamics or help you manage the way people and things influence your life. So from now on, feeling an emotion during meditation can be viewed as a quote-unquote magical transformation happening each time you feel down, sad, or upset, with a protective slinky uplifting you into a healthier state of well-being or a true sense of wholeness. Everything we do in life requires balance. We cannot have one thing without the other. We cannot have light without dark. I mean, can there be a day without night? It is in the joining of two opposites where balance happens. And though at times Some things we do in life, in a sense, tend to feel like we are in a mini state of lack, imbalance, or survival. We cannot just stay there. We do whatever we can to make things better. Otherwise, we lose that sense of peace and enjoyment. Every day may not always be good, but there is always some good in every day. Alice Morse Earl. Each negative experience is an opportunity to grow so we can reach a balanced state of equanimity, a sense of calmness under tension. And we do our best to keep this inner state of balance within in the midst of earthly survival without. Never allow any misconceptions associated with spirituality or speaking positive affirmations mislead you into thinking that it is not possible to be both spiritual and practical in everyday life. There's already so much emphasis placed on hyper-spirituality in a way that causes more confusion than clarity. So let us kiss. Keep it simply simple. Finally, as we near to the end of this vital disclaimer, it is so important to keep in mind that applying daily affirmations does not mean your desired outcome will be instant. In some rare cases, this can happen, which is what happened to me, and the surreal sense of gratitude experienced from this beautiful outcome served as a catalyst to the publication of this book. Either way, I can reassure you that beautiful things do happen when you change the way you think or speak. So one thing you can look forward to after, or perhaps while reading this book, is that you will see that speaking affirmations really does work. Eventually, it just might turn into, as it did for me being the skeptic that I was, a miraculous transformation that will inspire you to be the best human possible, or should I say, the best I am possible. And remember, it is in the small whisper, or in those insignificant practical moments, which may seem either too mundane or too much to handle, where miracles tend to happen, or where we receive our breakthroughs to learn and to grow from the most. This is why we do the practical things we do every day. We prepare our meals, we plan events for friends and family, we prepare, and prepare some more. In everything we do, we are always preparing for something. And without realizing it, these preparations are breakthroughs waiting to happen, helping us to thrive and not just survive. Though survival is an inevitable part of daily living, we are not designed to live in constant survival mode. Our spirit needs freedom. Our bodies need rest. Our soul needs peace. Check out the new I Am That I Am YouTube channel. The first 1,000 subscribers to follow this channel will receive a free pre-release copy of the upcoming 2023-2024 I Am That I Am book number 2, A Practical Guide, where I plan to share my own real-life experiences, practical examples, and what really happens when daily affirmations are applied to daily life. Life-changing excerpts, page 10. Quote, "The spiritual journey is not a search. It is an uncovering of the magic that lies within you. It is remembering the truths you already know. Since you have access to this same exact source of magic, wisdom, and potential as I do, it means that at some level deep inside, you already know everything I'm saying is true. So, try to remember that I am not teaching you anything with my words. I'm simply using words in an attempt to remind you of something you already know." End quote. Magic Words and How to Use Them by Genevieve Davis. Quote, "There are general principles that apply to all. There are also individual laws that apply to every separate and individualized person with its own unique set of blueprints. You cannot follow directly in my footsteps in making yourself happier and better. nor can I in yours, because every one of us is made up of a different combination of code elements. As these unique individualized elements have entered into and formed our spirits, our real selves, through the growth and evolution of ages. You must study and find out for yourself what your nature requires to bring it permanent and everlasting joy. You are a book for yourself. You must open this book page after page and chapter after chapter as they come to you with the experiences of each day, each month, each year, and read them. No one else can read them for you as you can for yourself. No one else can think exactly as you think, or feel just as you feel, or be affected just as you are affected by other forces or persons about you. And for this reason, no other person can judge what you really need to make your life more complete, more perfect, happier, so well as yourself. You must find out for yourself what association is best for you, what food, whatever type of food that may be, is best for you, and what method in any business, any art, any profession brings you the best results. You can be helped very much by conferring with others who are similarly interested. You can be very much helped by those who may have more knowledge than you of general laws. You can be greatly helped to get force or courage or new ideas to carry out your undertakings. But when you accept any man or any woman as an infallible guide or authority and do exactly as they say, you are off the main track, because then you are making the experiments of another person formed of a certain combination of elements or chemicals, and the result of that person's experiments the rule for your own individual combination of elements, when your combination may be very different and differently acted on by the elements outside that other person. End quote. Thoughts Are Things, simplified version by Prentice Mulford and Quaye Digne. Important. Speaking affirmations can be combined with other types of spiritual modalities or meditation. Meditation can be done in a quote-unquote whatever floats your boat type of way. Meditating is not just sitting down with legs crossed, uttering or reiterating religious words until you're bored out of your mind. I mean, either way, to each his own, right? If that type of meditation works for some, then at least the honest attempt to do good for oneself and to make a difference in the world can definitely be respected. However, meditation can also be passionate, fun, or an emotional release to simply quote-unquote get away from everything as you're uplifted into higher levels of understanding where you can both lose yourself and find yourself. Different ways to meditate can be dancing, singing, songwriting, exercising, cooking, baking, playing an instrument, journaling, reciting poems, running, freestyle rapping, or simply creating something you are passionate about. Whether it is in the arts, science, esoteric knowledge, or in just about anything that gets your heart in tune with who you truly are. Your I am. Let us begin. Before you begin, remember that we are all unique in our own way, but we are all one in the same. As a powerful conduit and a potential conveyor of an invaluable amount of information, any type of knowledge you are intuitively drawn to is usually hidden in plain sight, and your soul's blueprint knows exactly how to interlock with its unique set of codes. What you long to behold longs to behold you. Anything you are passionate about, or anything you are intuitively drawn to, you already have the applicable wisdom and knowledge within, waiting to be freely expressed without. As above, as within, so below, so without. As the universe, so the soul. What you inquire to know, you already know. The unique set of codes embedded in your DNA is the reason why you are drawn to what you are drawn to, and why you desire what you desire. The magnetism is inevitable. Only you know what you already know. Read that again. The life-transforming wisdom and knowledge inscribed and shared in this book are a byproduct of a desire or an intention that was sent out either by me, by you, by anyone. It is the reason why the book has been published and why you were drawn to it in the first place. Otherwise, you would not be reading or hearing this right now. As you read or hear each word, as you turn each page, your soul awakens to the wisdom and knowledge unique only to you, to create and manifest anything you desire. The manifestation of what you desire is guaranteed, because the desire in itself is proof that what you desire already exists. You already are who you are meant to be. The possibilities of your own unique alchemy are endless. Alchemy is magical. You are magical, which means you are alchemy. Alchemy happens every single day. When you open your eyes every morning, that is magical. Alchemy happens when you are receptive to your own intuitive channel of creativity. Suddenly, your own genius opens up to a wholesome world of infinite possibilities. As you align yourself with the frequency of alchemy within you, happening in real time as you are hearing or reading this, it activates the alchemist to perform miracles of transformation without. Here you are, in this wonderful realm, absorbing an infinite number of unseen elements that activate an irresistible alchemy from within to manifest or express anything you desire without. You already have all you need to create your own wonderful. As you read or hear and process each affirmation, poem, or thought of reflection, your amazing transformation is already happening. As the sweet aromas of your awakened soul permeate and release your earthly body to meet with and bind to your multi-dimensional ethereal flesh and bones, you discover the true essence of alchemy. The transformation taking place is felt by a lightness in your step, and you feel a surreal, deep sense of gratitude, inexplicable joy, and peace. Now, you can quote and unquote turn water into wine. Press down these multi-dimensional downloads and blends of inscriptions into your own life, so that you too can produce your own different kind of same, your own different kind of treasure, your own different kind of miracle. It all comes back full circle. Breathe. Affirmations. If I am neither here nor there, I am now. I am that I am. I no longer waste my time and energy thinking about the past or the future. In every now moment, I have the power to start over. Today is my first step towards a new way of thinking and speaking. I set healthy boundaries from a balanced state of equanimity. I am a gift to the future because here, in my awakened state, I set my intention to transmute anything from negative to positive. And since I have the power to change anything from negative to positive, the present becomes a gift to the future. I rest assured that even though I may not see the manifestation of my visions and dreams right away, because the seed has already been planted and is growing deep roots from within, it will eventually bloom to be seen in the physical without. I have the power of intervention too, by a change of perception, with patience, trust, and belief, alter the course of events that change the past and the future. As I create my best life now, the present and the future become a gift to me from the past. When I am fully in the present, I am at 0 point to transform both the past and the future to begin anew in the here and now. I am now the person I am meant to be. I know who I am. I just need to be reminded. To change the trajectory of my life, I think and feel differently about any situation, person, place, or thing to transform the past and the future to heal, to balance, and to harmonize the present. As I believe what I visualize becomes what I believe. So where I am visually, I shall be in the flesh also. Because of my new awakened reality, I and everything around me, despite of myself and everything around me, are aligned with and moving in the direction where I am consciously dwelling. As I feel that which I am meant to be, I silence myself into experiencing the reality of who I already am. I feel it in every part of my life until circumstances strike a pose to influence or form the world around me accordingly and in harmony with itself. Unbeknownst to me and unbeknownst to those around me, I am always being held and carried by my noble dreams and desires. Nothing, if I do not worry about how or when it will happen, can stop my beautiful dreams or desires from happening. In my daydreams, I envision many mansions, and since I have gone to prepare a place for myself, I come back into this physical reality to magnetize and pick up for myself and everything and anything that aids in the manifestation of those daydreams. I no longer worry about how or when what I desire to be, will happen, because I know that what I have desired already is. I renunciate to the foolish ideas, assumptions, or pretentious need that I must acquire the assistance of a particular system formally programmed into my mind by an imposed condition or erroneous belief to manifest what I desire. If at any given moment I give into or entertain an erroneous perceived idea or system as the one and only option to manifest what I've visualized, I can, by a change of perception, think and feel differently about my current circumstances to bring balance and harmony into the present. Whenever I feel an emotion, energy in motion, it determines the vibration of a particular manifestation into motion. So what I feel to be true is true. If I am wealthy, unless I feel wealthy, I am not wealthy. The more I feel my way into the direction of who I truly am and who I want to become, the healthier I feel. The healthier I feel, the more I behold who I truly am or who I want to become. The worse I feel after an emotion or a repeated thought pattern, the more I am leading into the opposite direction of who I truly am or who I want to become. So as I become more aware of who I am, a particular vibration that leads
to a particular manifestation is birthed within me or through me from my heart center to be embodied and expressed across time and all applicable spaces. The more I learn about my own individual blueprint, the more I understand myself. The more I understand myself, the more I receive intuitive downloads to become more of who I truly am. The moment I become aware of who I am not is the moment I become aware of who I am. Feeling is the evidence, the substance, physical manifestation of the things I've desired not yet seen. For this reason, I no longer concern myself with the hows, the ways, or the means needed to move me from one place in time into another. Because no matter where I am or what my current circumstances appear to be, what has already been prepared and what already exists, silently and effortlessly influences my life's experiences to bring into existence all things that are not as though they were. All I need is trust, acceptance, and silence. As I am moved, all things outside the range of the present senses or past limitations function accordingly so that what is not is. What is so obvious that neither I nor anything around me can continue to exist within the range of a past, present, or future assumption and limitation that does not align with the frequency or reality already affirmed, established, and embodied from within. I now step into the beginning of being my truest self in love, in relationships, in career, and in my creative pursuits. Effortlessly, all things fall into place for my good. The odds are always in my favor. Since I know who I am, I no longer claim anything to be true of myself that does not align with who I am. Who I am and what I do are one. I am the landlord, not the tenant of my mind. My perception of who I am is never less than who I am. With a heart of love and compassion, I no longer allow the suggestions, beliefs, and opinions of another or a former system to dominate or influence what I know is right for me and my path. By my own belief, validation, and spoken affirmations, I already am that which I am meant to be. If I fail to acknowledge this truth, I sin against myself by assuming that I am who I am through another's validation. I affirm daily, through the embodiment of who I am, that others see me as I desire to be and not as I was. In order for me to be who I already am, I can no longer feel as though I were before. My mindset matters, because what I set my mind to sets what is in my mind into matter. As I pray, I believe and feel my visualization into manifestation. Like a flint and steel that kindles a flame in my heart, each affirmation sparks a way into quintessential freedom. All creative and noble affirmations about myself enable higher levels of manifestations to manifest themselves. Today, I see, hear, feel, taste, and smell things in a new way. This is a sweet life. Since there is only one cause and one effect, waiting is my dedication to the completion of my manifestation. It is done. This is my aha moment. I release all limiting mindsets that restrict me from being who I already am. Because I am sealed into the belief and feeling that I already am who I am and already have what I desire, the invisible state affirmed and felt is magically made visible. I am change. Change happens without when I change how I identify with and define people, places, or things within, so that what I identify with and accept within, I collaborate with and express without. Today, I define myself differently. Today, I define this person differently. Today, I define others differently. Today, I define this situation differently. Today, I define the world differently. My true purpose in life is to be the truest embodiment of myself via the physical expression of my own individual unique blueprint. I ignore any suggestions that something has power in and of itself, for it is I, by way of perception, who gives it power. I reclaim my power within by realizing that I have unconsciously given power to an idea, a person, place, or thing that makes it appear as though it needs to be opposed. So, the only thing I need to conquer is the belief that I need to conquer anything at all. For this reason, I am not limited by anything unless I believe that it has power over me or power to decide how I feel. I honor my inner peace and my inner knowing by detaching from the need to gravitate towards the dominating influences of push and pull, trying to persuade me into a direction of resistance. Because I get more of what I am aware of, as I repeatedly give attention to, express gratitude for, and or exalt or praise it with feeling, I no longer give my attention to or from any opposing power, because doing so will amplify or cause me to spiral downward to operate at or below its negative level of effects. Hence, I quote and unquote save humanity by transforming my own individual consciousness. As I align myself with an inner state of balance from within, it changes the way I relate to or perceive people, places, and things. This reset holds a potential to restore, harmonize, and heal the collective consciousness being projected without. It only takes one drop to cause that ripple effect. So when my inner self reaches a balanced state of equanimity, rather than worrying about how to obtain certain things, I feel inspired to just be myself in all that I do. And I stay true to who I really am, while everything needed to attain my goals or dreams fall into place nicely or magnetizes together naturally. It does not matter how many different types of spiritual modalities, practices, tools, or resources I use to nurture myself. If I am not fully devoted to or aware of the importance of God's pure unconditioned light within me, all expectations placed upon the applicable services or deeds are null, and the gifts or services will have been fruitlessly rendered. For this reason, I place my emphasis on cultivating the gift of awareness and not the tangible gifts or services themselves through active meditation by finding a place of peace and stillness within my I amness. Since I acknowledge and accept all of creation's gifts within admiration and a deep sense of gratitude, I embrace all of creation and everything on earth as a gift for me to enjoy. As a creator of my own reality, I acknowledge and identify more with my divine heritage and all of the noble riches around me. I am affluent in love, ideas, joy, peace, beauty, vitality, friendships, compassion, beautiful experiences, wisdom, infinite or everlasting abundance, knowledge, inspiration, and so much more. Whenever I am exposed to something negative, I have the power to transmute how I am conditioned by it. I lift the sins, dense sensations of humanity, by transmuting the conditions I have unconsciously defined or accepted them to be. I have the power to transmute any destructive idea. I can transform any situation from the inside out. Every circumstance is like a lump of clay. I can reshape it. When I place my attention onto something, it activates an inner sensation that animates either a wanted or an unwanted outcome. Therefore, I always have the inner choice to no longer quote and unquote trap myself in an unwanted situation via an unwanted thought. It is my inner perception of
feeling stuck that keeps me stuck. Therefore, in essence, I am never really stuck because freedom is what I feel within and not what I see without. Today, I choose to rise above any perceived conditions, limitations, restrictions, or oppositions. Today, I choose my attention wisely to transform how I identify with and define myself, how I identify with and define others, and how I identify with and define the world. What I repeat in my mind, I breathe life into and keep it alive. Since I choose to be aware of only what's good, all that I choose to be aware of is mine to enjoy, to embrace, and to appreciate. I notice and acknowledge my surroundings. I feel an enormous appreciation for the universe within and without, and all the physical forms around me, such as people, the sound of nature, music, animals, flowers, free resources or tools, innovative modern gadgets, and so much more. This acknowledgement and deep sense of gratitude is proof of how rich I really am. I appropriate in my world what already is. I walk in that assumption which appears as not because it already is. Everything around me reshapes itself naturally. I solidify my affirmation by feeling it into being. Unexpectedly, in a way that I do not know or anyone knows, my affirmations become alive in my physical world. I fully transform an idea, a person, place, or thing by purifying my own consciousness in relation to an idea, person, place, or thing. Even if something or someone appears to be a certain way, I can start right now by redefining it or the person differently, and by identifying with it or the person with something new. The desire for who I want to be and what I want to have is the evidence of what I do not see with physical eyes. I am already that which I seek, and I have no one to change but myself in order to express it. When I choose to have a positive concept of myself, it molds my world in harmony with itself. Therefore, others do not choose me, I choose them. In this way, I have the power to magnetize the appropriate people and things to me. For this reason, I am consciously aware of the situations, people, or things I magnetize towards me. I always have been and already am that which I seek, so that what I desire, I already have. Therefore, I do not chase, I magnetize. The only reason I seek what I desire is because I already found it in the form of the desire itself. I walk in the belief that I already am who I am meant to be, and that I already have what I desire. I emotionally awaken myself to bring my ideas and desires into fruition. All forces and dynamics of heaven and earth collaborate to bring into fruition what I envision within, without. I am divinely protected by this wonderful catch-22. The more aware or centered I become, the more balance happens within to restore, stabilize, or bring things harmoniously together without. So if I ever forget about who I am, or the seeds already planted, things come together externally to remind me of the previous investment made internally, and it recalibrates everything within to be fully expressed or embodied without. I dedicate my time, energy, and attention to only those qualities, attributes, or things related to what I would like to experience. Living in the here and now is like quote-unquote speeding up or quote-unquote teleporting the manifestation of my daydreams from one place in time into another for me to enjoy or to bring into alignment those divine, wonderful experiences that satisfy the 5 physical senses. I no longer walk through the graveyard of my own self-imposed limitations or self-sabotage thinking. I quietly awaken to and affirm my desire, no matter how many doubts or unsettling thoughts try to creep in. I no longer concern myself with the how or when of the physical manifestation of my daydreams or desires, because who I am, or what I have there, already is here. Here just has to catch up with there. Yes, it is true. I already have what I am meant to have.
Original poems. As I stand still in the awareness of my I amness, I alchemize the present and the future into a miracle of isness. Despite any trying doubts, my faith remains unmoved, because what I declare is already true. It is by my own wisdom that I confidently own and execute the ability to keep up with and apply what my intuition is telling me. As I continue to pray, my belief denies all physical senses and logic. By accepting the wish as already fulfilled, I create my own magic. Feeling my manifestations into existence gives me such a sweet thrill, because when I galvanize a wish or a visualization, I am further amused and bewitched by my own acts of free will. When I feel my visualizations, I attract my desires to me, as frequencies of the seen and unseen intertwine with harmony. My acceptance of already having that which I have decreed wills the means to obtain what I've set forth to be. As the wisest or even the shrewdest cannot and will not devise a more effective means, I pray, wish, and desire only what is noble for my friends and family. Awareness is mine and always on time. It is never too late for me to change. My imaginations and visualizations are the buds grown from seeds, the ideas bloomed by the substantial faith I've planted with my belief. As I spray my mind with emotion of my wish fulfilled, I carry the fragrance wherever I am. It lingers and lingers with a captivating subtlety that lures and magnetizes all things at my command. I am what I want. I am what I desire. I am that I am. Nothing can conspire. I am careful of the feelings that I purposely entertain as I feed my ideas feed my brain. I habitually feel entertaining and become the appropriate mood. My reality reveals the state from which my ideas have been fused. I am what I affirm myself to be. I am what I affirm myself to have. I am what I affirm myself to see, because I am that I am. As I die to what I formerly expressed in this world, I completely live to that which no one saw as true of me before. I become detached or indifferent to what formerly kept me alive. I have died by my own hand. I commit suicide. No one took my life from me. I laid it down myself. As I animate the resurrected new, I am no longer a puppet on a shelf. I do not need the validation of another to become who I am meant to be, as I begin to live that which I've discovered in my Garden of Gethsemane. Instead of holding on to my ideas, I am held by my ideas to bring my noble desires into manifestation. As my ideas carry me through and through, I am confident to reach my final destination. As I confidently align with the outcome of my manifestation, I discern any person or anything headed in my direction. An affirmation needs no confirmation from another. It is a conception and agreement made by my father and my mother. As I accept my past failures and graciously move on, I gently forgive myself to become more of what I become.
As I mentally commit myself to a mental diet of cleansing and detoxing my mind, I choose to leave all of the dead debris from stinking thinking behind. As I become more of what I have embodied myself to be, I refuse to accept what my old senses try to dictate. I remain faithful to the new ideal of my new embodiment as the auric codes of my unique blueprint begin to radiate. Thoughts of reflections. My thoughts are the magnets that connect the unspoken enigma between having what I desire to desiring what I already have. Because my thoughts are the magnets that connect this unseen with the seen, I think wisely. As I think wisely, I bring to my awareness the treasures I've always possessed within me. Each thought animates the abundance of those treasures into existence. The more time I spend in lower mind thinking, the less and less I am able to quote-unquote see, visualize, or imagine my dreams into existence. May I immediately be awakened to this, so that I can recalibrate my mind back into alignment with all that is pure, lovely, kind, and what is in harmony with my dreams. Because I am the author, professor, and wordsmith of my own life, my sovereignty, state of awareness, or quality of consciousness is not contingent upon, governed by, or attached to any astrological transits or predictions, fortune-telling, personal tarot card readings, or any other type of esoteric knowledge and wisdom, because these are just tools, reference points, guides, representations, or a confirmation of the obvious, my inner knowing. The more I actively embrace higher mind thinking, the more I am able to manifest my desires into the physical reality. The higher I rise above within what I see in my reality, the more my visualizations and desires are brought to life without. As I ascend to a higher way of thinking, I rise from within above my current circumstances. So, going back to an older mindset or shrinking back into the opposite direction is no longer an option. It is through divine awareness, revealing all distorted conditionings imposed upon my consciousness, where I can realize why I experience the things I do not like. This timeless revelation points out, isolates, zeroes in on, or magnifies these conditionings as if projecting them onto a movie screen for me to see. In this way, I become more aware through my mind's eye how these things play out in the quality of my relationships and in the way that I relate to the external world, its limitations, restrictions, distorted beliefs and values, and how either a collective or self-imposed suffering is, indeed, the obvious result of such conditioning. The beautiful benefit of this quote-unquote mind-blowing revelation is that it keeps me receptive to that flow state of intervention available to and assisting me at all times as the deeper layers of my consciousness internally within balance out to bring healing and harmony into the collective consciousness projected externally without. For this reason, a non-judgmental heart of compassion is crucial to learning more from one another as a humanity. Because the ego edges God out, and the personality persists in quote-unquote seeing only quote-unquote enemies, or through the lens of fear, competition, worry, or guilt. As I ascend higher and higher within, I solidify and objectify things to appear without. As I transform a negative emotion from within, I no longer have the propensity to unconsciously emit or transmit it as a negative vibration without. I transform pain. I do not transmit pain. Spirit's medicine is in constant supply for me. I treasure it, revere it, and cherish it as my only source of healing or renewal. After I've passed through the mazes of lower mindsets, all the walls behind me collapse and shut down. There is no other choice but to move forward, because going backwards would be an inescapable, tormenting dead-end street. Accordingly, as I close the door to all charades, I no longer need confirmation from an outer reality what I already know to be true in my inner reality. I ignore the quote-unquote evidence of any physical appearances that try to contradict my belief in what has already manifested. And I do not need to discuss with others whether my belief is valid or not. Denial to my senses is the evidence of the things not yet seen. I no longer need to rebel or resist against anything or anyone, because I only fight against my own power that I chose to transfer onto a person or a thing, not the person or thing itself. It is me seeking to reunite back with myself through the depolarization of negative or positive ideas previously conditioned by external influences. Anything that appears as an opposition is just mirroring back to me the way it has been perceived to be by external influences. It is useless to project an illusory expectation that I must be someone I am not, because I believe that I can be me, who I already am, without the pressures or deception of fulfilling an erroneous way of thinking or a false sense of security. As I become more of what I think, I take my attention away from anything that does not align with who I am. Acknowledging and accepting the ebbs and flows, or the ups and downs of life via the processes of contraction and expansion, is the first step towards learning more about myself. And as I recognize my divinity, or true essence of God within me, operating through all spaces and dimensions, the more graceful my realization of Spirit's essence in me, around me, and through me becomes. This realization elevates my awareness into an effortless sense of alchemical buoyancy. I can only forgive something when I truly forget it. If I am reminded of what I held against someone, then I have not forgiven at all. Complete forgetfulness is complete forgiveness. If I have not forgotten, then I have not forgiven. Because as I continue to remember what happened in the past, I replay an image pattern in my mind that continues to recreate reflections of people, places, and things around me based on an old past occurrence that no longer exists. So, patiently and gently, I do the inner work to forgive and forget. As I forgive and forget, it is mirrored back to me 100-fold. So rather than believing the saying, out of sight, out of mind, instead I believe, out of mind, out of sight. Only a gentle soul is strong enough to love unconditionally. I love myself gently, freely, and unconditionally. I have only one gift that is truly mine to give. It is the gift of myself. As a sketch artist brings what has been visualized to life through the act of sketching, I quote-unquote sketch my own life's masterpiece. As a good thought becomes a good sought, I align myself with this wonderful enigma. When I make a wish for someone, it automatically presupposes that I accept and believe the same wish to be returned back to me. It is my own faith, calling the thing that I do not yet see, that brings the wish to fruition. Otherwise, it is powerless and it will not manifest. For this reason, I only wish something for someone that which I would want to be wished for myself. Because any wish I make for someone can and will be rejected by the receiver if he or she is incapable of believing or accepting the same to be fulfilled for themselves or for me. So, I only think good thoughts and make good wishes for myself and for others. I recognize there is no barrier to the manifestation of my desire. There is no block to destroy if my desire has already manifested. I will not want what or who doesn't want me,
because when I want something or someone that doesn't want me, it creates an undesirable sequence of events on both ends. If what I want wants me too, then the more attention I give to an unpleasant situation, the more it will want me back by creating an undesirable life for me that I never wanted in the first place. It is in the spirit which I accept, or the belief placed upon resources, tools, medicines, supplements, prayers, affirmations, relics, crystals, or spiritual practices, why and where the remedy happens, and not only in or because there is a quote-unquote spiritual power within the objects or practices themselves. I save myself from who I do not want to be or who I was by personifying or becoming who I do not want to be or who I already am. This act in itself releases the thief, a lower preconditioned or programmed mindset trapped or locked in a shell that stifles me from being who I am. Nothing needs to be created in the unseen world. It already is. As I continue to appropriate this new way of being, all things work together for good for the betterment of myself and for all humanity. As part of the same whole, or humanity, I am a unique being within, individually expressing a different set of codes without. As I am who I am meant to be in different forms, levels, and dimensions, especially through the ebbs and flows of life's experiences, I go higher and higher, contracting, expanding, forming, transmuting or transforming, projecting, and changing everything within, until it all meets at 0 point, the pure center, where all begins and ends, and begins again. It is my higher self that influences all the actions and words necessary to aid in the production of my manifestation. As I proceed to live a life of alchemy, it may feel uncomfortable at first. The deprogramming of years and years of operating in a way that is different from what I am used to can feel a bit jarring and shocking to my soul. For this reason, it is super important for me to be kind to, patient, and gentle with myself. Once awakened to the heart or truth of a matter, all irrefutable depolarized previous impressions or sensations associated with it are irreversible. Therefore, relapsing into any lingering emotional or mental attachments is just an illusion, projecting either a sense of lack or the quote-unquote need to resort back to old behaviors or habits. For this reason, I am no longer able to integrate with collective influences, negative currents or streams of thought that are driven by previous impressions or sensations. True wisdom and freedom detaches from the need to blame one collective influence over another for the cause and effect of a particular crisis. Instead, it looks inward to make the humbling and difficult choice to change any thought patterns leading into the obvious negative pattern being judged or projected. It is the lack of understanding or self-awareness as to why I feel the way I feel about a particular person, place, or thing that leads to a false projection of opposition externally without. When in fact, it is an internal perception or a dominating collective belief of a person, place, or thing projecting the quote-unquote need for it to be opposed that is causing a ripple of negative impressions or suggestions later solidified into quote-unquote sins or dense sensations. So, a detached viewpoint or non-reaction to a particular impression or suggestion helps to not recreate or release reoccurring negative thought patterns or sensations into our collective consciousness. Self-observation of my thoughts without judgment is a healthy step towards quintessential freedom for myself and for humanity. Who I am is not contingent upon other people's thoughts or behavior. When I identify with the feeling of who I desire to be, the entire course of what's around me is molded into and harmonized with the fulfillment of that desire. As my desire awakens, I nurture it by feeding it quote-unquote belief buns, so that it does not starve to death. I like being devoted and attentive to my belief. The more I nurture my desire, the more it grows into a fruitful harvest. First, I keep this harvest to myself, because in order for me to share this harvest with the world, I must first care for and share this harvest with myself. When I am gentle and patient with myself in my healing process, others mirror those attributes back to me 100-fold. To the pure, all things are pure. And because to the pure all things are pure, I am incapable of seeing the quote-unquote unlovely because I only identify with what's lovely. It is not my responsibility to change a man. There is no other way to change my world except I first change myself. First, I must change myself, and by doing so, perhaps it will inspire others to do the same. There is nothing unclean of itself, for it is I that sees another human as either clean or unclean. To the measure of my own belief and faith, the awareness of my I amness recalibrates to and in harmony with my quintessence. The ideal concept of my godliness or I amness is adhered to serve as or obtained from my inner nature. Were it not already potentially involved, originated from my inner nature, then I would not have an inner knowing of who I already am. I would have never sought me had I not already found me. That is, because I already am. I fashion the world around me by the intensity of my own belief and feelings towards myself. I can choose to either illuminate or darken the world around me by the concept I hold of it. As soon as I succeed in transforming myself via the concept I have of myself as a human, the world, and all distorted projections or preconditions, quote-unquote, magically melts before my eyes and reshapes itself in harmony with what my inner self affirms. I align myself with this infallible truth. As easy as it is to manifest what I do not want or what I do not like, which is a byproduct of operating within the range or the appearances of toil and struggle, then it is just as easy to manifest what I do like, which is a byproduct of operating within the range or the belief of peace and trust. That is why I consider it no mockery to believe that what has been affirmed in the unseen already exists, waiting to be seen. As I rise to the level of my noble desire or idea, I find the world in harmony with this assumption. I do not make it so. It is so. As a spiritual being, having an earthly experience, I have always been who I am before the world was. The only thing that has changed is the concept I have of myself as a human, whereas I saw broken parts which were never really broken at all. I entertain the idea of excellence and appropriate this state that has already been mine before the world was. Without the validation of another, I remain faithful to the feeling and belief that I am who I am meant to be. As my belief grows more and more, it hardens into fact, into reality, the fulfillment of my desire. As my desire awakens in others, the ideas and actions that tend towards the embodiment of my dream or vision, it solidifies my faith even more. All it takes is one dream to come true to establish the conveyance necessary and or the propensity for things and others to continue showing up in ways that make more of my dreams come true. I do not consider that what I desire is nearby, because even this expectation implicates a sense of separation. It is already here. Anything perceived as limiting, restricting, destructive, or opposing can be redefined as freeing, liberating, restorative, and in alignment with pure consciousness. Any conditions I define are guidelines I choose to mentally, emotionally, or physically operate by. If I can imagine being a certain way that I desire to be, or have a certain thing that I desire to have, the fact that I can imagine it or desire it verifies from my higher self to my human self that I am worthy. I just need to be reminded of or be reawakened to it. I assume that I already am who I want to be. I do not look back on my former way of being or wonder how this way of being or living will disappear and be no more. For if I continue to look back and give attention to it, I am feeding into that old vacated idea, giving it more power to grow more and more. I no longer say to myself, am I really different? Am I really that which I've imagined myself to be? Have I really detached myself from the people, places, and things that are no longer from or a part of that which I've envisioned for myself? Is this or that really true or not true? No. Instead, I devote and determine myself to give all of my attention to the assumption that that which I have imagined or envisioned in my mind's eye is already so. Hence, because it is so, I do not have to make it so. It is so. To be the spiritual mind is to be spirit. To be spirit is to be I am. And I am just is. I am that I am.